All right. So that being said, so this is a revision of all that we did the last time we had the class. This is a
Yeah,
revision
we
of
did
what
that
we
one.
did. We looked at the we looked at the comparison, that is the relationship between the three-digit bearings and the compass bearings. So this is a revision of what we did. So today, our topic for today is actually the bearings between 2 points. That's what we're looking at today. How to determine the bearings between 2 points. So we'll start with the bearings between 2 points are usually has to do with three-digit bearings. So we'll start with maybe one question, and then from there we'll see how we can determine the bearings when 2 points are involved. There's also bearings between 3 points. That's the one that leads you to a triangle, and then introduces sine rule and cosine rule. But we're dealing with bearing between 2 points
Uh,
here. So let's take one. Yes,
and this is
someone called. Do you have a question?
I cannot see your screen. No, no.
What's the question you have to ask?
So I cannot see your
Or do you
screen.
have,
So I
you
cannot see
can't
your
see the
screen.
screen. All right, so you might have to leave the class and then join again. Because I think the screen has been shared. Is there anyone that can't see the screen? Lucas, Lucas, can you see the screen? Okay, Lucas said he can see the screen. Yeah, Lucas can see the screen. Matilda can see the screen. So I think if you can't see the screen, please leave the class and then try to rejoin. It could be from your network. All right. So we did say what we're looking at the bearings between 2 points here today. So let's take the first question. Okay. So let's say that the bearing of A from B is let's do with 20. The bearing of A from B is 20 degrees. So it's a three-digit bearing, so you have to say 0, 20 degrees. Now find the bearing, should be bearing of B from A. Alright, so this is the first question we are looking at. It says that, remember, we're looking at bearing between 2 points. That's what we're looking at today. So the first question there says that the bearing of A from B is 20 degrees. That's 20 degrees, but since it's a three-digit bearing, remember, for three-digit bearings, the digit has to be 3. So that is why you have that extra, that 0 at the beginning. So that's actually 20 degrees. So the bearing of A from B is 20 degrees. Now find the bearing of B from A. So what you do here is you will have to know where that 20 degrees has to come from. There are 2 points here. One point is point A, the other is point B. You would have to be able to determine where that 20 degrees is coming from, what quadrant 30 and 20 degrees has to come from. So remember, first quadrant 0 to 90 degrees, Second quadrant, greater than 90 to 180 degrees. Third quadrant, greater than 180 to 270 degrees. Then, of course, the fourth quadrant is greater than 270 degrees to 360 degrees. So, 20 degrees should come from what quadrants? 20 degrees should come from what quadrant? Matilda, what quadrant do you think 20 degrees has to come from?
From 0 to 90 degrees.
That is the first quadrant. Okay, so we have that coming from the first quadrant. So if it comes from the first quadrant, we'll have a line here, and then you see it goes coming from the first quadrant. So this is the 20 degrees there. Because 20 degrees is from 0 to 90. That is the first quadrant. Now, if that line comes from the first quadrant, then it will meet, there are 2 points. That's first compass drew now, that's just one of the points. Then it will meet these other quadrants at this other compass here. This is where it will meet the other quadrant. Remember, there are 2 points. One is A, one is B. So they said the bearing of A from B is 20 degrees. The bearing of A from B is 20 degrees. So 20 degrees is in the first quadrant. That's why I drew that line from the first quadrant. And if you draw the line from the first quadrant, it will meet the other points at the southwestern part. That is at this part where it meets the one at the top now. Now, the next thing to do is to identify which of these 2 points, which one is A and which one is B. Because these 2 points, one is point A, one is point B. So how do you tell which one is A and which one is B? The simple way of telling which is A and which is B, go back to the question. The question says that the bearing of A from B is 20 degrees. If you underline from B is 20 degrees. So it is B that carries out 20 degrees. It means that this is point B and this is point A. Again, the first thing we did was to identify the quadrant that 20 degrees has to come from. And then we said that quadrant is the first quadrant. If 20 degrees come from the first quadrant, that's why we drew the line from the first quadrant and put the 20 degrees there. Then secondly, the line drawn from the first quadrant will meet the other points at that part where you see the southwestern part. Okay, that is at the southwestern part. Then secondly, you would have to identify between these 2 points, which one is A and which one is B. And the way, it's simple way of identifying it is you go to the question and look at where they said from this is this. The bearing of A from B is 20. That's why I underlined it. From B is 20 degrees, meaning it is that B that is the 20 degrees. So that place you put 20 degrees, that is the point B. Then the other point is point A. Do you understand what I just said? How to identify where to put which is the point A and which is the point B. All right, good. Very good. Okay, so back to this. Now, this is the bearing of A from B given as 20 degrees. But the question is now saying, what is the bearing of B from A? We have gotten A from B. So what is the bearing of B from A? You will go to the other point, that is point A. You already have the answer for point B. So you will go to the other point, point A. The first thing you do is you go back to your JSS2 when you were taught alternate and corresponding angles. You go back to your JSS. So please, can you mute your, okay. This person whose mic is on, can you mute it, please? All right, thank you. So you will go back to your GSS2 and reintroduce that topic. What's the name of this topic? Alternate and corresponding angles. Alternate and corresponding angles. You're taught in GSS2. So firstly, you would have to see that if this point B, that 20 degrees there, then this other point here in A should also be 20 degrees. That other point in point A should also be 20 degrees. Who can tell us the reason why, if that point in point B is 20 degrees, then this other part in point A is also 20 degrees? Who can tell us the reason why? Audion, let's ask you this question. Audion, please unmute your mic. Audion, can you hear us? Okay. Matilda, Matilda. Okay, good. Matilda,
So we
yes.
have
Why,
network.
oh, you do not know, but you did alternate and corresponding angles in JSS2, did you?
Is like
Okay. All right, let's hear from another person. Who else can help us with the reason why? Lucas, can you help us with the reason why, if this point in point B is 20 degrees, then this other point in point A is also 20 degrees? Can you help us with that? Okay, so Lucas isn't responding. We'll just go ahead. So now that we have that part in point A and B is 20 degrees, then we have these other parts in point A to be 20 degrees too. They are called alternate angles. You were taught in JSS2. They said alternate angles are equal. So when you have points like this, these ones that are left and right, the way it is here on a transversal line, then the two angles are equal because they are alternates. So that is why that point in to B is 20 degrees. This other alternate part in point A is also 20 degrees. And then the next thing to do is, as usual, you have to count from the north down until you get that line, and that will tell you what the bearing of B from A is. So I think let's use red to, or purple. Let's use purple for this. So we're counting now from here down until we come to this line. Here's a bigger one. Okay, from the north down until we come to that line there. How many degrees should we have? So first off, we know that from the north down to that south is 180 degrees. From the north down to that south is 180 degrees. Then we now have an extra 20 degrees attached to it. From the north down to the south is 180 degrees. That is 90 plus 90. Then, but there's an extra angle
200.
attached to it, which is 20 degrees. Yes, exactly. So the bearing would now be 180 uh, will now be 180
plus 20
plus that
is
extra
200.
small part, yes, which is 200 degrees. So the bearing of B from A is 200 degrees. The
A from
bearing
B.
of B from A
Okay, B
is
from A.
200 degrees. So A from B is 20 degrees. That was the actual question. The bearing of A from B is 20 degrees. So we already know A from B. So the question was asking for B from A. You get? So the first thing we did, we drew the line. 20 degrees was coming from the first quadrant. We did that. Secondly, we identified which one is the A and which one is the B. And I told you, if you go to the question, you look where they said from B is 20 degrees. That was the part I underlined. From B is 20 degrees. So meaning it is B that carries out 20 degrees. That's why this first part was the 20. Then you proceed to use alternate angles. Alternate angles. You see the alternate angles. If that part in B is 20 degrees, then the alternate part in A will be 20 degrees as well. Then lastly, you count from the north until you get to that line. From the north until you get to that line, north to south is 180 plus the extra angle there, which is 20. That gives 180 plus 20, 200 degrees. So the bearing of B from A is equals to 200 degrees. That is the result. Does everybody understand this? Okay, very good. So, yes, okay, I see your hands. Matilda, do you understand? Just give a thumbs up if you do. Matilda, do you understand? Efosa, okay. Efosa, do you understand this, Efosa?
No, so I'm just joining the class. My network was bad.
Oh, okay. All right. We still have more examples up front, so I'm sure you get up to speed as the class progresses. Okay, so that is example one. That is the first example we've dealt with. So let's try to take another example, and let's look at example two. Let's call this example two. Okay. So in example two, we try to create another question. Let's say the bearing of a house from a school is the bearing of a house from a school is, should we say, okay, let's just say 125 degrees. The bearing of a house from a school is 125 degrees. So what is the bearing? Not hearing, bearing. What is the bearing of the school from the house? Okay, so that's the question we're looking at. That's the question we are looking at. You see it there. Says that the bearing of a house from a school is 125 degrees. The bearing of a house from a school is 125 degrees. What is the bearing of the school from the house? So as usual, the first thing you have to do is to identify what quadrant 125 degrees has to be drawn from. 125 degrees. From which quadrant should we draw that? So let us see. Um, Efosa, you're just joining, but I'm sure you were in the last class. So Efosa, please unmute your mic. From what quadrant should 125 degrees be drawn from?
Sir, please say the question
If,
again.
okay, I was asking from what quadrant should 125 degrees be drawn from?
From the second quadrant.
Alright, good. Thank you so much. You can unmute the mic. You can mute your mic now. So 125 degrees is located at the second quadrant. It therefore means that we would have to draw that point from the second quadrant. And of course, if we have to draw the point from the second quadrant, it therefore means that we will start from here. We'll have to start from here because it means that the point has to come down here. So the point has to come down because it's coming from the second quadrant. So that's why we put it at the left hand, top left. Then the point is drawn from that second quadrant. And if the point is drawn from the second quadrant, it will meet this other point here. This is where it will meet the other point. Okay, then we already know that it is 125 degrees. This is 125 degrees as it was stated. 125 degrees. Now, if we have this as 125 degrees drawn from the second quadrant, first step, we need to identify which of these 2 points is the house and which one is the school. Which of these 2 points is the house and which is the school? Remember what we said the first time. If you are to identify which is the house and which is the school, go back to the question. When you go back to the question, go and locate that point, that part where you were told the drawing of a house from a school on the line from a school is 125 degrees. The drawing of a house from a school is 125 degrees. It means that that part that is 125, that place you drew your 125 from the second, the that part is the school. So remember, from a school, So that point there where the 125 degrees was drawn from, that is the school. So right here that this is the school. And if that is the school, then this must be the house. Does everybody understand how we determine which point is a school and which point is a house? Does everybody understand that? Okay, all right, very good. So we're coming back. Again, the 125 degrees was drawn from the second quadrant. And then secondly, it will meet the other point at this part where it makes it, the northwestern part. Then we identified which is the house and which is the school. And we said to identify that, you have to go back to the question. Look at what was said. From a school is 125 degrees. From a school is 125 degrees, meaning that place that is 125 degrees, that is the school. And the other one is the house. Can you please mute your mic? Can you please mute your mic? This person. Okay. All right. So that being said, The next thing we'll have to do is to identify what would be the bearing of the school from the house. But in order to do that, you might want to get your alternate angle first. In order to do that, you might want to get your alternate angle first. Now, what is the alternate angle for this point to have here? If you have this place as 125 by alternate angles, if that is 125, then first thing is to get the alternate angle because 125 is at the school. The first thing you need to do is to get the alternate angle at the house. The alternate angle to 125, you have to get it at the house first. And then what should be done to get that? Who has an idea? What should be done to get the alternate angle at the house? Matilda, any idea to get our alternate angle at the house?
No, sir.
Okay. Alright, so to get the alternate angle at the house, all you simply have to say is this here. If that's 125, then this here should be 125 as well. So that's the alternate. If that's 125, then that too should be 125 as well. Alternate alternate angles from your JSS2. So if you have 125 there at the school, the alternate angle at the house would be this point here, will get you the alternate angles. Then to get the bearing of the school from the house, you will just simply count. Remember from the north until you get to your south. From the north until you get to your south. So first of all, from the north to your south, sorry, from the north until you get to that line I meant, from the north until you get to the line. So firstly, from your north to your south is 180 degrees. Then you now have an extra 125 degrees, which you can see there. From your north to your south, first is 180 degrees. Then you now have an extra 125 degrees, meaning what you're doing is 180 plus 125. And why is that? North to south is 180. Then plus extra 125. And how we got that 125 extra is by the alternate from the school. The alternate angle from the school. This is not the only method of getting it. I'll show you another method of getting this if you do not want to use the full alternate angle there. So back to this. At the school we have 125. Then the alternate to that 125 at the house. That's the pathway the angle we put there at the house 125. And now to get the full angle you must go to the north and read it until you get to that line. So if we go to the north and read that from the house from the north to the south 180 plus that extra of 125 you see there, that's 180 plus 125, and this results would be 305 degrees. So it therefore means that the bearing of the school from the house is 305 degrees. Do you understand this? Okay. Efosa says you understand. Lucas understands. Um, who else? Who doesn't understand? I think someone said some. Okay, Lucas, there was someone that didn't understand. I'm trying to get to that person. Who was that?
Sir, please, I don't understand.
Okay, good. Who is this person? Who are you? I can't find you. I'm trying to get you. Okay,
Matilda,
Matilda. Okay. Have you been in the class or you been going off and on?
I've been in the class.
Okay. All right. So this is just one method. Let's look at the other method for those who might not understand this. So let's look at another method, a smaller alternate angle that you can deal with. So again, we have already drawn this. We already drew this, and we did say that this is coming from here down to this part. So we already said that this is the school, and then this is the house. So we're trying to use another method now. Okay, so from here to here is 125 degrees. 125 degrees. That's what we have. That's that from the house, that bearing, 125 degrees. Then now, if from the north to that line is 125 degrees, what is only this small place, only this small place I mark? Let me mark it to something else. What is only that small angle that I marked with red? From the north down to that line is 125 degrees. What is only that small angle that I marked with red? Matilda, what do you think?
35 degree.
Matilda, very good.
35.
35 degrees. Okay, very good. So if the full angle from north to that line is 125 degrees, then only this small place with the red, only that small place will be 35 degrees. So you now have to find the alternate angle to that 35 degrees. The alternate angle to that 35 degrees. And the alternate angle to that 35 degrees would be um, the alternate angle to the 35 degrees would be here. This other small place, 35. That other small place. That is the alternate angle to your 35 degrees at the school. That's how you get alternate angles between transversal lines. If that place at the school is 35 degrees, this other side at the house, which is alternate to that particular point, is also 35 degrees. This is from your JSS2. All right, now we've gotten that. Then let's go and read. Remember, your final answer must always be read from the north until you get to that line that you drew. From the north until you get to the line. So let's go and read the final answer. So from the north, read until you get to that line and stop. All right. So let's start. From the north until this line that is west, how many degrees is it, Matilda? From the north until that west line, how many degrees do we have?
Sir, please, what's the question?
Do you understand how we got this second 35 degrees at the house part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The one at the house part, not the one at the school. The second one at the part of the house. Do you understand how we got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we are reading everything. To get our final answer, we'll have to read everything from the north until you get to that line. So I am reading from the north until I get to that line now. From the north down to that west, that west, how many degrees?
So, 305.
No, don't worry. Yes, the total answer is 305, but we're learning because others are listening as well. From the north to the west, only the west, how many degrees is that?
217.
Okay, so from the north to the west, 270 degrees, then plus that extra 35 degrees in red, because you have to read everything until the line where you stopped. So from the north to the west, we have 270 from the north to the west, 270, then plus that extra small line that was labeled in red, 35. So this still gives you 305 degrees, just like we got at the top. At the top, we use another method. We still got the same 305. But if you like to make your alternate angle to be smaller, you want to break it down, you can also do that, and you must have same answer. So the bearing of the school from the house is 305 degrees. Do you understand this now, Matilda?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anybody that doesn't understand? Please, can you just raise up your hand if you do not understand? And if you understand, please give a thumbs up so we can continue. All right, good. So I think it's safe for us to continue. So let's continue. So that was the second example. Do not forget, as it is our custom, I'll take example one, example two, example three, and then from example four upwards belongs to you. So do not forget, prepare yourself. We will start with, I think it was Lucas that started, that opened um, the classwork in the last class. So today, Matilda, you were the last person to answer in the last class. So today, we'll start from you. So prepare yourself. I'll take my last example before it's your turn. All right. So in our example three, we shall look at, let's look at something else. Example three. Okay. Example three. The bearing of a car from um, a truck. Yeah, the bearing of a car from a truck is, let's deal with 260, 200, 200, 260 degrees. The bearing of a car from a truck is 260 degrees. Determine the bearing of the truck from the car. Okay, so I think this is the question we'll deal with. Okay, so this is the question. The bearing of a car from a truck is 260 degrees. The bearing of a car from a truck is 260 degrees. Determine the bearing of the truck from the car. So as usual, the first question you ask yourself is, what quadrant should 260 degrees come from? That is the first question you ask yourself. And the reason why you would have to ask that question is because you should be able to tell where you're drawing the line from. Because if you do not know where you're drawing the line from, then the whole purpose has been defeated. So what quadrant should 260 degrees be drawn from? Um, Wow. Um, Praise, I think Praise is just joining. And Praise. Praise. Please unmute your mic.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Have you had a good day today?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's good to know. I hope this doesn't spoil your day.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's see if it will spoil your day or not, or if to make your day better. 206. Have you been in the class?
No, sir. This is my first day joining.
Oh, this guy has escaped. So your day, okay. Thank you, thank you. Let's ask someone else because we do not know if you'll be able to get this. Who was that person laughing? Okay, Uyosa. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay. So Uyosa, can you unmute your mic, please?
Okay.
Had a good day today.
Yes, thank you, sir.
All right. Well, won't you ask what about me?
Sir,
I asked you if you had a good day today. Won't you ask if I had a good day myself?
did you have a good day today?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're actually asking this question. Have you been in the class?
This is my first time.
Why is everybody claiming first time today? All right, thank you so much. Lucas, you would have to take this. I'm looking for other persons, but I don't seem to. Godin has been off and on. So Lucas, you would have to take this.
Okay.
260 degrees. What quadrant do we have to draw that from?
From the third quadrant.
All right, good. Thank you so much. So we have 260 degrees, and we identify that that should be drawn from the third quadrant. So it means that if that is to be drawn from the third quadrant, it means that I would have to have my first point somewhere at the top here. I would have to have my first point somewhere at the top here because when I draw from my third quadrant, it will come down like this. So that's why my first point is somewhere there. I think I should use a straighter line. This isn't very straight. Okay, so I'm drawing from the third quadrant because that's where you can find 260 degrees, like Lucas said. And if I draw from the third quadrant, it means that it will meet the other point at this particular place here. Okay, then we have at the third quadrant, we have from here to here is 260 degrees because that's what it means. 260 degrees, that's the third quadrant from the north to that line where you drew from. That line is 260 degrees there. Okay, and then it will meet this other point at the northeastern part. Yeah, so that's why it's arranged that way. Third quadrant, drawn from the third quadrant. Then now the second most important thing to do is we have to identify which one is the car and which one is the truck. Do not forget. I'll go back to the question and I'll underline from a truck is 260 degrees. From a truck, that is what tells me which one carries it 260 degrees. From a truck is 260 degrees. It therefore means that this one here at the top is a truck. From a truck is 260. So it is a truck that carries it 260 degrees there. And then obviously this other one would be a car. Okay, now we would have to find the alternate angle. But if we look at this one we did at the top, I think you guys preferred when the alternate angle is smaller instead of this big one. So that like Matilda understood when we made the alternate angle to be smaller, she understood that better. So I think we should come back here and try to make the alternate angle smaller. If we're making the alternate angle smaller, then that means we'll have to come here. I'll use red for that. So if from the north to that line is 260, what is only that small place measured red? What is the angle for only that small place measured red? Who can answer that?
80. 80.
Very good. Very good. 80 degrees. 80 degrees would be only that small angle. So now we have this small place as 80 degrees. Only that small place as 80 degrees. Does everybody understand why only that small place marked red is 80 degrees? Is there anybody that doesn't understand why? Okay, a Fosa. A Fosa does not understand why that part is 80 degrees. Efosa, can you unmute your mic, please? All
I'm
right,
hearing you.
Efosa. Okay, Efosa. So
Sir,
what's okay? So you do not understand why that place we marked red is 80 degrees, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's look at this. We have from that full angle is 160. The black angle that was 260 rather. The black one from the north until that line 260. What is from the north to the south? How many degrees should it be?
90.
No, from the north to the south. Remember, each quadrant is 90, 90, 90. So from the north to the south should be how many degrees?
260 degrees.
No. Okay, so your then what you do not understand is not even from here. It is from the previous class. It is from the previous class. We have this. We have this. Look at your north here. Look at your south. Everywhere is 90, 90, 90. From here to here, north to south is 180. 90, 90. 180 from your north to your south. The north is the top line. The south is the bottom one. So from your north to your south is 90 plus 90, 180. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now look at this diagram again. You now went, the diagram past the south. That angle past the south. It still went further and they said everything is 260. And if you know that from your north to your south is 180, what was that extra that was added to the 180 that made that black angle to be 260? What was the extra that was added to it?
80.
So that's why that red angle is 80 degrees. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's why the red angle is 80 degrees because from north to south is 180. And then the thing still went forward. They said everything is 260. So it means that that other small place that passed the south is 80 degrees. All right, so we've done that. And now back to this. So we have that small red line as 80 degrees. If that small angle is 80 degrees, then we have to look for the alternate. The alternate to that will be at the top here, this top where the car is. It means that that place is also um it means that that place is also 80 degrees by alternate angles because the both of them are alternate and you say alternate angles are equal. So if that place at the truck, that small angle is 80, then this other one at the car will also be 80 by alternate angles. And now let us read our answer. Remember, you're reading your answer from the car. You have already gotten your answer from the truck side. So your answer is being read from the car. How do you read your answer? You always read from the north to the line that was drawn. That's how you read your answers, from the north to the line that was drawn. But if you look at that already, the angle is already there from the north. If you want to read this now, if you decide to read this now, you will see that it is already there from the north to the line. Look at it. From the north to the line, it's already there. And what do we have there? It is 80 from the north to the line. You see that it is the same 80 that we have. And if it is the same 80 that we have, then your answer is, remember, 3 digits. You don't write exactly 80. You say 0, 80 degrees. That will be the bearing of the truck from the car. 0, 80 degrees truck from car. So the bearing of the truck from the car is 0, 80 degrees. Why? Because the 80 degrees we have there, if you read from the north to that line, it is still the same 80 degrees that we have. So in this type, you are not adding anything because the 80 degrees is already there. Read from north to south, it's still that from north to the line, it is still the same 80 degrees that you still have. So meaning the answer is 80 degrees, but make sure you add a zero before it because it's a 3 digit bearing. The answer must be 3 digits. So does everybody understand this? Okay. All right. So everybody says they understand. Please, if you do not understand, ask a question now because it is time for each person to take a question. All right. No one is asking a question. Matilda, we're starting from you. So let's see what happens here. Okay, Matilda, this question is yours. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, general question. Let's say that, okay, let's say church, the bearing of a church from a mosque is 0, 70 degrees. The bearing of a church from a mosque is 0, 70 degrees. What is the bearing of the mosque from the church? Okay, so this question is Matilda's. We shall listen to her explanation of what to do. Matilda, we don't just need an answer. I need you to guide me through what to write. I'll be writing whatever you ask me to write. So let's start. Matilda, we're waiting. Have you seen the question?
Yes, I'm coming.
Okay. Who wants to take the next question? Who wants to take the next question? Please raise up your hand. Who would like to take the next question? Lucas, okay. Lucas has said he wants the next question, even without seeing the next question. What if the next question is a question that might be confusing. What do you think happens then, Lucas? Okay, so I think Matilda is solving hers. So Lucas, let's look at this. Um, P from Q is 320 degrees. What is Q from P? Okay, oh, I'm trying to
So I'm done.
I'm trying to make it okay, I'm coming. Let me I'm trying to make this bigger for Lucas to attempt. All right, Lucas, that's your question. P from Q is P from Q is 320 degrees. What is Q from P? Lucas, have you gotten your question? Say hi. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so P from Q is 320. What is Q from P? Let me just move it to this other side so that we can test Matilda's answer if it is correct. Okay, so Matilda, what was the result you got?
Um, I got 250.
250. Alright, so let's see. Let's test your answer. While Lucas is on his own, he's already solving on his own part. So let's see. Let's test the answer before Lucas finishes his. Okay, so first off, 70 degrees has to come from the first quadrant. So it means that the line goes up and meets this other one here. So I have 70 degrees, 70 degrees. So if this is 70, then the alternate here should be 70 as well. So that would be the alternate. And then to get the full angle, that is the bearing, we'll have to count from here down to here. And we do know that from the north to the south is 180. Then there's an extra small angle of 70. So 180 plus 70, that gives us 250 degrees. Okay, very good. Matilda, that's correct. The bearing of the mosque from the church is 270 degrees. So that's very good. Well done. Please, does everybody understand how Matilda got 250 degrees? Please, if you understand, let me know how Matilda got. Okay, Efusa understands. Who else understands Matilda's answer? If you do not understand Matilda's answer, please let us know. Okay, so and Lucas, we're waiting on you. Matilda has gotten hers. Melody, would you want to try one question before it's time? Do you think, did you join the class early enough to understand what you're doing? Melody.
Yes.
Okay, so then it's safe for us to give one question to you. So Melody, take this other question. Lucas is solving is. So take this other question. P from Q is 320 degrees. What is Q from P? So Lucas is already on it, but I need you to get it done as well so that we'll compare the both of your answers to see Do you understand? Melody. P from Q.
Yes.
Okay, so P from Q is 320 degrees. What is Q from P? What is the bearing of Q from P? First thing, you have to identify where 320 degrees would come from. So you look at where to come from. Then, secondly, you identify which is the P and which is the Q. Then you look for the alternate. Use the smaller alternate. I think you guys understand the smaller alternate more. Use the smaller alternate, then find the other alternate, and then you get your result by reading from the notes until you get to the line. Matilda, back to you. I was going to ask you before it skipped my mind. You did not tell us which is the mosque and which is the church. You only told us an answer, which is correct, though. But you didn't tell us which one is the mosque or which one is the church. So can you please tell us that? Matilda,
Um,
okay. Which is the mosque? Which is the church?
the mosque is the one on the left hand side, and the church is the one on the right hand side. The place you wrote
Okay.
180 plus is the church.
Yes. Okay. Very good. So the mosque is the one at the left hand side. That's because the question said from a mosque is 70 degrees. So that your first 70 degrees you wrote is the mosque. So here we know that this would be the mosque, while at this other part, that's where we have the church. Okay, so we're still waiting for Lucas and Melody to tell us the result they got for theirs. I think let's move theirs to this other side.
So I'd love to try another question.
You say?
I'd love to try another question.
Yes, I'd love us to actually do more. Who is this? Has this
Matilda,
Melody? Is that you that wants? Oh, Matilda. Yeah. I'd love us to do more questions, but I looked at the time and I see it's barely five
Yeah,
minutes remaining. That's
I
why.
got
So we just have to
140.
quickly get. Okay, Lucas got 140. So Matilda, I hope you understand what I'm saying. The time won't allow us. Otherwise, we would have loved to actually do more. Is that okay?
yes, sir.
All right. So Lucas has gotten 140 degrees. We shall test his answer to see if it is correct or not. But let's wait on Melody first to hear from Melody what Melody thinks about this. The other persons in the class, I hope you're getting yours done as well. And any answer anyone is giving, if you disagree with the answer, please let us know and give us your opinion as well. Melody, how far have you gone?
I disagree with Lucas' answer.
Okay, who disagrees with Lucas's answer? Melody.
Matilda. Matilda.
Okay, Matilda. Okay, Matilda disagree with Lucas's answer. All right, let's hear from Melody. Melody, how far have you gone with yours?
I got 140 degrees.
You got 140 degrees. Okay, Lucas and Melody, the actual owners of the question, got 140 degrees. But Matilda disagrees with this answer. So we shall test this. We shall put this to a test and see who is wrong or who is right. So, Matilda, after disagreeing, what did you come? What result did you get?
50.
Matilda,
So I'm coming.
okay, so let's continue testing their answers and see. 320 degrees has to come from the fourth quadrant. And if 320 degrees is coming from the fourth quadrant, it means that that should be here at the bottom. Then the other one will be somewhere at the top
At the
here.
top.
Yes, coming from the fourth quadrant.
I
Then
made a
it means
mistake.
that you made a mistake before now. You made a mistake.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so do you now agree that the answers are correct? Are you now agreeing?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. But I don't know yet, so let's still continue testing it. I don't know myself, so let's continue testing it. So 320 here, it came from the fourth quadrant, so the other one has to go be up. So we have 320. Okay, Lucas, which
Yes.
is the which one here is a P and which is a Q?
The 320 is Q, then the upper one is P.
Okay, so this is Q and then this upper one will be P. Okay, I think Melody, do you agree with that? Is the 320 the Q and the other one the P?
Yes.
Okay, so Melody and Lucas are just agreeing with themselves. Well, let's continue testing, Sha. So we have 320 degrees, and remember that I think we prefer using the smaller alternate. Yeah, we prefer using the smaller
Yeah.
alternate. So let us get this small place. Let us get this small angle. That angle I'm
50.
marking with red. Yes, I think 50 as well. So this angle marked with red should be 50 because if everything there is 320, I'll know that from the north to that west is 270, meaning an extra 50 was added. That's why it is 320. Okay, good. So if that is 50, then the alternate will be at the other side, at the P, the other side of P. That means this place is also 50. So that place is also 50 for P by, by alternate angles. Then our final answer, don't forget, do not ever take an answer without reading from the notes until you get to your line. Don't ever pick an answer if you don't read from the notes until you get to your line. So our final answer will read from the notes until we get to that line that was drawn. So from the north to the east is already 90 degrees. Then plus that extra 50 you see there, that is 90 plus 50. Then the result is 140 degrees. So I also agree with Lucas, Melody, and Matilda after rechecking her work. So I think it's agreeable that this is what it's attainable. So 140 degrees is a bearing of Q from P. So that's right. Does everybody understand? The other people, do you understand how these are done? That how we got 140 degrees? Okay, so everybody
No,
seems
sir.
to understand.
Sorry.
Sorry?
You can tell me the next question. Sorry, 2 seconds.
Okay, you have a question. What's the question? What is the question? You raised your hand. I think you asked the question. I didn't get that. Okay, there is no response. Okay, so this is what is done. This is how you find the bearings between 2 points. This is how you find the bearings between 2 points. So I think it is if nobody has a question and everybody understands this, then it's safe for us to end the class here. And apart from this, does anyone have another question to ask as related to maybe something that is applicable, something you do not understand? Okay, what is your question?
All right, so hold on, hold on. Remember to take attendance. I don't know if you've done that.
Yes, no, I
Hello, sir.
haven't, but I see the names. Yeah, I can hear you. I see the
Oh, okay,
names
okay,
here, and I've taken into
okay,
consideration. I've written them down.
okay. How many of them have been consistent, like the students? A good not like the ones attended today. Like,
All, all
are they
of,
names that were
all of them
very
actually, all of them actually have been very
okay? Please put
consistent.
names. Okay, put some
You
names.
mean as regards the
Yes.
previous classes? Do you mean as regards
Yes.
previous classes?
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
there were two persons who just joined today. They said today was their first time being in the class. Two persons.
Okay. Who are they? Praise. Is that
They
you?
said praise and what was the other person? Praise and let me check. One
Golden.
A Osa. No, not Golden. Golden has been in class. A Osa. I think the
Oh, okay.
person is no longer in the class. A
That's
Osa.
it.
But the rest of them have been in the class.
Right. Hold on, guys. We are
All
taking
right.
notes. Hold on, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much as
All
well.
right. So in the absence of any question, I think we'll call it a good one for today. So
Yeah,
until
yeah.
next
Sorry.
time.
You said you've taken attendance, but my name on the app is Osas or Naiwo. I'm just using this email to log in.
Who is speaking? What's your
Lucas.
name here?
My name here is
Oh,
Lucas
Lucas.
David. Yes, but on the app is
And your name
Osaze
on
or
the app.
Naiwo. Yes.
Yes,
On the
I think I've
website.
asked you before. I've
Okay,
asked you
okay,
before, and you've told me
okay,
in previous class. I asked
okay.
Lucas. I said I couldn't find your name. Then you told me your full names.
But on the website there, I'm seeing absent there on
That
one class that I attend, but it's
to,
showing absent.
that must have been the first time before I asked for your name, not subsequently.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yes, not subsequently because you've told me. And then there was this other person too. Not here.
I
The
don't see
person
my name.
isn't
Oh.
here. What's your name?
Gospel.
Who just said it? It says Gospel. What's your name on the site?
Same name, Gospel.
Your name is there now. Your name is there on the site. I haven't marked the attendance yet, but I've taken it. I've taken the people in class into consideration already, so that's fine. After the class, I'll go mark it. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're ending the class here until next time. When we see, we'll go into swords. We'll look at swords and then subsequent topics before the class ends. All right. So take care of yourselves. Have a good night rest, and please do not forget to always study your exam. I think your jam starts when is it? Some of you might be writing jam. I know. So whatever it is, take out time to study every day, even if it's just for a few hours. Yeah. All right. So we're in the class here. Bye for now. All right, Gospel. Thank you as well.
Science students, remember
So,
your
guys,
physics class by 8:45. Science students, remember your class by 8:45. Science students, remember your class by 8:45. Thank you.